On the last lap, the BOE brothers said, strangely, Johannes Tingnes has lost 1 second to his inspired older brother, up to 7.5 kilometers from the range to 7.5.
Yeah, I sort of suspect that's going to come back his way. How many times, Mike, have we seen even the big names shooting clear and going absolutely 100% over the first kilometre out of the range, only to
A gentle start there from Moravec, the local hero. Hopefully he can get himself up into the top 10 today. Well, Vindish needed all 5 there. I looked at him prior to the race. I looked at his season. He hasn't had a great season, but that looked much better from Vindish had it not been for the last shot missed.
Karnikov, one of few athletes to have hit 20 out of 20 in the pursuit last week. Can he make it 30 in a row? No.
Interestingly, Rasteguyev's had bid number 29, but the Biathlon integrity unit have not allowed him to start because he's had 3 failed whereabouts in the last year. You have to give your location, and 3 times he's failed for testing.
Ligrid, only 3.4 outside Fielmaillet. Would expect the Frenchman to be a little bit quicker on the last lap. If he misses, that will be irrelevant. So a little advantage swinging the way of Johannes Tingnes in terms of the overall World Cup, Mike. That's a rare miss from Ligrid at a crucial stage.
Ligrid has the advantage, though. Johannes Tingnes is 25 seconds behind his older brother, and Ligrid will be hunting that time down. He may go out ahead, actually, of Johannes's time ahead as he exits the penalty loop.
Yeah, I suspect that Johannes Tingnes' score today will not count, because remember, he has to finish 5th or better than 5th, the top 4, to improve his World Cup score in terms of the sprints. Simonada, what are we going to see? There's a slight intake of breath as he lets it go, Mike.
Yes, sometimes, certainly in prone, as you exhale, the rifle comes through. He's built that into his stand routines as well. What incredible shooting. We've never seen better statistics in the men's field than we're seeing now with Simonada this season.
Now, Germany, who have started to turn things around. Winning the men's relay was the most important race of their season last week. Fabien Claude. Now, the French looking very, very solid after the second shoot. They got Fielmaillet leading. He'll be into the finish fairly shortly. Jacquelin, who started 16, in 3rd place.
Interesting, the 3 Cloud brothers in the race today. Of course, Fabien racing for Belgium. Patrick Favre just sending the good news around the tracks to keep the coaches' spirits up, or the supporters around the track.
Yeah, Lesser, take 25 seconds off that time. It would have been very respectable indeed for Eric Lesser, but he's going to have a bit of chasing to do when it comes to the pursuit on Saturday. Mass start on Sunday. Now, Emilien Jacquelin, he's looking tired, Mike. He's looking absolutely shot. Normally, as we mentioned, he produces the best last lap of anyone, but he has not been able to match Tarjei BOE. He started just 2 seconds behind the Norwegian. He ends up losing a full 9 seconds to Tarjei BOE of that last 3.3.
Oh, very surprised. He was very slow to get his ski poles on, I thought, so the mind, the spirit, the rush wasn't there. And certainly the last 500 meters, he has really suffered on the track.
Yeah, I can tell you that Field-Maillet is going a lot better. So for French fans out there, it's looking pretty good for, certainly for a podium finish today, possibly the win as well. Now, Detieux won this race last week. He won't win this week. Even with a clear shoot, Mike, he would have been struggling.
It's strange how biathlon operates. His first ever win last week. I thought maybe that would open the floodgates, but not missing two.
So Field-Maillet dropped from a lead of 11.5 seconds over Tarjei to 8. That came back to 11.1 by the time he went 9.2, and he's kept the pace going. It is going to be around 10 seconds for Field-Maillet. Excellent racing, 11.3 the margin. A pump of the fist, too early to know if he's won this one, but I think he'll be fairly confident that he's got himself a top 3, because all the big names going off in the first 30, and if we go back to the second shoot, he still has the best time. Comfortably so, by 11.3 seconds.
Lukas Hofer, a different strategy today completely. Normally that first shot goes at 16 or below, and then it's 1.8 in between, so much more calmness in terms of prone shooting, but he seems to have all of his ski speed.
Yeah, but he's given away 9 seconds to the best, or the best performance in the range, Mike. Probably wisely so. He's only 7.2 outside. So Hofer certainly someone who deserves a podium. Here's Christiansen, the number 5 in the Norwegian team. He's had a tough season with Ligrid and Darley doing so well.
And you know, Christiansen, he knows he has to have some good races now with Stromsheim coming through with a 12th place last week. And I think that pressure is, we're seeing it there in his stand shooting. Normally he's so much better than that, Christiansen.
Yeah, Christiansen was down in 45th after the first shoot. 1 place better than Johannes Tingesbø. This is the world champion, Martin Ponsaloma. Even he can't afford a miss in the prone. You know, the standard's so high, Mike, that literally is only one man who can miss a target and still think he's going to win.
I'm with you, but at the end of the season, it releases those who have had not such good seasons, like Benny Dahl, who's going very well right now, the Eric Lesser as well. A lot of the big names are coming into form almost because they can believe again that they can win as the big names are beginning to tire.
Now, Johannes Darley, first man for a while to match the opening lap speed of Ligrid. Ligrid going on to miss in the stand position. Darley, if he wants to win, has to clear the 10. It's low. Still low. Oh, a little bit lucky, low right. And gets that one inside. Mike, all those worryingly close to the bottom of the target. Won't matter for the stand, but he's got away with it.
It's really interesting. We've seen that from each of the Norwegian athletes. They're getting them down, or Johannes Tingesbø didn't, but most often they're in the low, down at 6 o'clock, around the bottom edge of the target. I would have raced the sights up 3 clicks, 9 mils at least up.
Yeah. 10 seconds given away to Tishenko on that prone shoot by Darley as we have a look at the standings after the first shoot. Ligrid, Tarjei, Benny Dahl, the fastest 3. Ligrid, is he going into the top 3? Just missing out, goes 4, 23.4 behind, and he's less than a second off the podium positions. France, Norway, France, Norway, Norway, the top 5 positions at the moment. Simon Eder on the charge for home. Again, it's the ski speed that lets him down. He's still got 150 meters or so to go. Eder, what, should be looking for a top 7, top 8 possibly. fact, they're on 39.8, 9 seconds. Oh, that's going to be close. Top 10, fantastic work.
It is. He may drop down as Daly and some of the other big names come in. 40 seconds, that's what he needs in terms of ski speed over what, this 22-minute race. It's not much. The margins are tight.
Yeah, but where's he going to get 40 seconds, Mike?
Difficult. When you're 37, it's difficult.
Look at that. Over 50% of the top 10 positions shooting perfect. Johannes Tingesbø, the only one in the top 10 with 2 misses. And 22.07 looking very, very difficult to beat. Going back to the first shoot, I just can't see anyone who started really late. Lucas Hoffer is certainly someone we need to keep an eye on. He started number 49, and Johannes Daly shot clear. He's 7 seconds. Those two actually fairly tight. So if they have a good second loop and shoot very fast and clear, they might challenge for a top 3. But I think Fiolmaye can probably start ordering the wine.
It's on hold at the moment, but he's thinking, I'm going to have a good night. And Fiolmaye, he's such a big name in biathlon, but only 1 win this year. And the podiums-wise, what's he had? He's had 4 podiums, including that victory.
But what a season we've had in terms of the number of winners. You know, Mike, the last decade, it's all been about Johannes Tingesbø, Martin Fourcade, Bjorn Dahlen before that, Poiré before that. What, 10, 15 years, we've had one or two men dominating the top of the leaderboard in all the races. This season, well, Samuelsson's had a win, Ponsiluoma's had a win from Sweden, the French have had the Fiolmaye, of course, Jacques Alain, Norwegians. Well, all the top 4 have had wins.
Look at the time there. Claude had a chance, a possibility for a top 3, not anymore, by missing 1 out of 5 standing. And Samuelsson, I thought Samuelsson's looking good. It just depends. I hope we see the track further out. Still plenty big names still to get underway. Karlik, brought in from his successes at the Junior World Championships. He knows this venue very well.
Simon Detieu, the coach is trying to give him some encouragement, but he won't be able to take those 2 misses out of his mind. It's not going to be a podium finish for Detieu. But top 13 and 56 seconds, the difference at the start of the pursuit on Saturday. The women's sprint tomorrow. Here comes Benny Doll, later starter in terms of the big names, so he knew exactly what he had to chase, and just like Detieu, missing 2 on that stand. I don't think the conditions really changed much, Michael, though the mist is that little bit thicker.
Oh, I'm not sure. Is it going to ice over? That was my other thought. As we're getting later into the evening, what local time coming up 6:10, I thought maybe it may start icing. Benny Doll only, what, 11 seconds slower, shooting the same as Johannes Tingesbø. His ski form is brilliant. I thought he might miss 1 today and a chance for top 3, but not when he misses 2.
Just like last week, the podium positions at the moment with everyone clear. Johannes Daly, he was one of those who shot 0-2 last week. If you were given the choice, Mike, would you like to shoot 2-0 or 0-2?
It's definitely 2-0. Well, it subdues you. You're so annoyed missing 2 out of 5 first time, but at least your legs are fresh going on to the last lap when you shoot 5 out of 5.
Nice to see Lucas Hoffer clear 5. Oh, that was close. Go on. Yes, lovely shooting. Only 13.6 outside coming in. The difference between the top 3 and the finish is 22.7. And Hoffer coming out hard. Now, this, Mike, is where he's got to control himself. He's still got 3.3 Ks to go. It's all about just getting into the rhythm. Yes, push hard, but do not build the lactic too early on this loop. It's a punishing loop here in Nove Mesto. Christiansen missing 2 on the last shoot. And take away the 50 seconds, he would have been right up there with the best. That could have been a podium for him. He knows it.
Oh, yes, he got his skiing aspect very, very strong today, Christensen, and such a surprise, missing 2 in the stand. Lukas Hofer, his strategy is so different today. Calm, and more calm on the range. He got all 10. He's normally edgy, he's tense, but now he has to have the ski time of his life if he wants his second ever win.
Yes, 6th position coming in to the second shoot, Mike. He's gone out in 3rd, just a second up on Jacquelin, and the coaches may well be telling him that Jacquelin faded on his last loop. Now, Ponsaloma.
The last lap.
Now, Darley and Hofer have not been more than a second and a half apart at any stage. A miss would change that. Frustration, you can see it on his face. The pressure so immense now that the shooting standard's so high. Antonin Giganar is going to join his teammates in the top 10. He may well do. Good ski time coming in, Mike. That might suggest that the tracks are starting to get a bit quicker.
Possibly. I'm just looking at Lukas Hofer's time. There's a lot of descent, a lot of ski speed time, up to 7.6 kilometers, and he's lost a huge amount of time to Tarjei BOE.
Yeah,
he was 1 second behind. Yeah, now it's 5.
Yeah, 5, and he's 0.1 ahead of Jacquelin. So a real fight for a top 3 from Lukas Hofer. Hofer's had plenty of 4th positions so far this year, has not made the podium. For all his efforts, Mike, he deserves it. And when you think he's only had 1 win in his career, he's been a bit unlucky, hasn't he? But there are plenty of men who've been close, but denied by the top 3 great athletes over the last decade.
Yes, and Lukas Hofer, he's always been so close because he nearly always has 1 or 2 penalties in this race. Today it's clear, and he's chasing the podium.
Now, what are we going to see from the youngster in the Norwegian team? Well, I say youngster, he's not that young, but certainly a newcomer to the team.
I thought what he did last week was exceptional to finish 12th in his first World Cup.
Good, oh, look good, look very good.
Olympic silver medalist Kretschmar, and not look comfortable or looking comfortable last week. Much better today.
Yeah, 39-14 in the pursuit last week. Shot 20 out of 20 in the pursuit. You're never quite sure. It was the other way around in the Olympics, Mike. I think he went from 2nd to 30th, missing, what was it, 6 or 7 targets in the Olympic pursuit. Just wasn't used to the pressure.
Huge pressure. Andre Rybar so much happier this week of racing so far, getting at least 1 athlete top 15, and maybe Kretschmar can survive top 15.
Well, keeping an eye on Lukas Hofer. He's yet to go through 9.2. He must be there in a moment. Lygrid, we know, has just finished in 4th position. Samuelsson with 10 out of 10, 17 seconds behind. He could be looking at a top 3. He will be. That is excellent. Only 2 seconds behind at the moment. And Samuelsson, if he's can find the form that he showed early season, Mike, he could challenge top 2 possible. 11 seconds between Phil Maillet and Tarjei BOE in the finish at the moment. He's 18 down and he goes into 5th place, but certainly will be hunting the time set by Lukas Hofer. Here is Hofer. 3rd position at the moment. That last kilometre's been good, Mike. He's opened up from 0.1 of a second. He's opened up the margin between himself and Jacquelin by 3.1.
And then Jacqueline, we saw Jacqueline staggering over the last, just surviving to the line over the last 500 meters. So that plays into Lukas Hoffer's hands.
Oh, I can see the script. Hoffer's going to get third, but Samuelsson is going to deny him at the last minute. That is going to be painful stuff for the Italian. May not be the way it turns out, but Samuelsson we will track over the last 3.3. His teammate Nellin with a good push into the finish, got into 17th place, and at the moment, the best of the Swedes. Now, Hoffer. How light does he look on the feet? This is a good fighting performance, Mike. He knows how much it means. The women in the Italian team taking most of the headlines over the last couple of years, particularly Dorothea Vera. Hoffer would love to get his share of the column inches, and a top three might just do that. Tyler Bush sitting at 11.3. It's 8 seconds or so from here. He's looking at 15. He's going into third. Jacqueline is off the podium, and Lygrid's going down to 5. What a fighting effort from Lukas Hoffer. He's got it at the moment. I don't think he wants to know anything about Samuelsson quite yet.
I thought he really twisted his knee as he crossed the line, stretching out, and then the skis just flipped. And anyway, he's not hurt. That's the upside.
Samuelsson not looking quite as light as Hoffer was, Mike. He's down to 21 and still some 8 seconds off Hoffer's time.
I think Samuelsson a little unlucky. He opted, or his coach and him opted for Group 2. He's the second last starter, booked 59 in Group 2. He could have started 34th. I think the tracks may have been a tiny little bit kinder if he'd started 34th.
Yeah, Jacqueline has, Samuelsson, I should say, has gone from 18 to 21 seconds behind Fillon Maillet. And he's lost a fair amount of time to Hoffer as well, from 12 to, what is he now? He's, as I mentioned, some 8 seconds behind. Ponsaloma charging for a top 10. If he wants to achieve that, really needs to go into 7th place ahead of Fact. That's not going to happen. Ada on 40 is safe. Pfeiffer on 46, I think, is safe as well. Or is he? It's close. Oh, just misses out on 9th into 10. Johannes Dahle, with 10 out of 10, Mike, he could have been looking at, he would have been looking at a podium finish almost certainly, and he's putting in a fine performance here to try and pull back some of that time.
Yes, I think almost undoubtedly he would have been chasing the podium and then inspired with the podium chase. Less inspired now when he's surviving for, what, a top 8 possibly?
Johannes Tingesbø on 37. I think Dahle is not going to do him any favours in his quest for the overall World Cup. And Dahle into 6. Lygrid currently lying in 5. So we have 2 positions between Lygrid and Johannes Tingesbø. In terms of points, Johannes Tingesbø will get 36. And Lygrid will get 40. We're expecting at least one more change in the top positions. Giganat could be one of them, certainly could be one of them. Go on. Oh, through that long way wide, a long way wide. There was a real opportunity there for Antonin Giganat. What does that tell you about his personality, Mike?
Well, he's shaking his head. He cannot believe it. He was hesitant. Just, the brain would have flickered. I need to get this one. I can win today. And that thought process, I think that's where the snatch was, or the change of routine. Every biathlete knows it. He knows it. But it's very hard to keep these thoughts out of your mind.
Yeah,
Still shaking his head.
Yeah, it was almost like he didn't mean to let it go, because the gap between the fourth and the fifth was so small compared to the rest, and the rest of the chute was still pretty slick. This is Samuelsson, who is looking for top 5. Last time we saw him, he dropped down into 6th position, 28 off, and he might actually do Lygrid a favour by getting in between Lygrid and Johannes Tingesbø. Krishmar has had a good day.
Well, I said top 15. Well, looking at the time, 29. Yes, possibly a top 10, but that may drop when Giganau comes in.
Yeah, we're probably looking, what, 12, 13 at the moment. Last time we saw he was 45 behind, and he has not lost much more on this last lap. 44.5 the difference, and 10th position for now. Pfeiffer pushed out of the top 10. The world champion Ponsaloma down in 12. Benny Doll, former world champion, pushed down to 13. Top 6. If he wants that, he has got to be less than 36 outside. And it's about 30 seconds from the apex of that hill. Yeah, he's looking a little bit like Jacquelin in the last 50 metres, Mike. The balance has gone, the tempo has gone, and Samuelsson has been dropping down the order all the way through his last lap, but he gets in ahead of Darley and goes 6th for now, 30 seconds off the lead, having come out of the range just 18.4 behind. End of season blues, perhaps?
Oh, it's such a tough season when you look at the 26 point-scoring races they have, and then 8 relays so far. There's more to come. It's a brutal season. So, what, some 36 races, and the big names. Samuelsson is one of those big names, doing them all.
Well, here are the. This is the leaderboard in the finish. 22:07 the leading time, some 51 seconds quicker than last week's winning time. Fielmayer, Tarjei Norvegia, Lukas Hoffer. He may well stay there, Mike. That's fantastic news for the Italian team. Really impressive. But Quentin Fielmayer, immaculate performance. Shot quickly, shot accurately, and accelerated all the way through that last loop. That was the key to success. He's ended up with an advantage of 11.3 seconds over Tarjei Norvegia. So he denies the Norwegian a second successive win.
I'm delighted for Fielmayer, and just the name. He's so consistently good. Well, he's 4th in the world, but he's just lacks in podiums, and it's so often his shooting that lets him down. He's always top 4, top 5 fastest, often the fastest. Andre Riba, he knows what he's capable of. Karlik is a great shot, but it's the first World Cup blues. Well, he was brought into Oberhof, 99th position in the sprint race in Oberhof, and then he did 3 races at the World Championships. This is great from Emilian. And remember, Emilian Cloud took the sprint and the pursuit title at the Junior World Championships, so he is on form.
Yeah, he was certainly the star player at the Junior Worlds this year. Only 22 outside. He's got another 2 laps to go. Yeah, if he finishes within a minute of the leaders, he'll get himself a top 20, which at World Cup standard is fantastic. That might be a tall order at the moment. Garanichev. It's been a while since Garanichev won a World Cup, and
he's had a a lot of negativity in the press as well back home. So this may cheer the press up and give him some praise for a change.
Well, not when they look at the split time, Mike. 46 seconds behind without a miss, and that margin's going to have grown to 50. So doesn't matter what he does on the range, he has not got the ski speed to challenge.
No, I think that's going to drop over, what, 1:25 by the time he crosses the line, which may well put him out 28th position, 29th position. At the moment, Scott Gowan 29th, again, perfect shooting.
Gigana still up in the top 6, looking to go ahead of Samuelsson, a second between those two. Certainly Gigana seems to be skiing a little bit lighter, a little bit sharper than we saw from the Swede. And if he does make top 6, that will put 3 Frenchmen into the top 6 of the order. We've got 4 Norwegians in the top 8 at the moment. Those 2 teams have dominated biathlon on the men's side all season.
Streltsov normally shoots well. He's had 2 outings in sprint competitions this season. He's only missed 1 shot from the 20 fired in this race, and that improves again. Ski speed not quite there.
And Gigana just 30 seconds, or 23 seconds outside. That one miss in the stand has cost him a possible win here in Nove Mesto, but it does put 3 Frenchmen into the top 6, all within 23 seconds of each other. Welcome back to Nove Mesto. The Italians on a high at the moment. They have Lukas Hoffa sitting in third. Giacomel is, well, it's not a bad ski time, to be honest, but that's only 1 of 3 laps. So even with a clear shoot, you're looking at a deficit of around 55 seconds.
So disheartening. The first shot, you line up, you think you're in control, you don't let that shot go. Singerly looking on was, when he was racing, one of the best, but he hasn't got quite built the discipline into the youngsters. So last week 13th Stromsheim, this week maybe expectations. Last week no expectations, first World Cup, do the best you can. Now today probably thinking about it. Came 12th last week, I want to come 6th or better this week, and I think it affected his shooting. The drive and the explosiveness has deserted him as he works his way to the line. Tired bodies at this time of year. Just looking at the lap times, Patrick, the last lap, the last 3.3 kilometers, have we got a faller? Luckily round, well, there's the faller. It's a fast corner, 97 taking a tumble there. And that is Strelcov. Yes, Jake Brown, the American, has got the sixth fastest time on the last lap. He did miss 3 targets, so punishing himself on his way around. That's a brilliant time, only 4.7 seconds slower than fastest time.
Yeah, got a lot of potential, and missed 2 more than Sean Doherty, who missed 1. So they have produced more or less the same time. So Brown actually, Mike, the first American for a while whose strength is the skiing. And that's an exciting prospect. If he can get the shooting sorted out, get the percentages up to around 88, 89, he's going to be in the money for plenty of top 10s and maybe even improve on that.
Yes, from the Craftsbury, Vermont area, and they'll be very happy to see that. And of course, he did have his personal best at the World Championships, 12th position. So maybe next year, the Americans again could be strong and were winning medals here when the World Championships came here. What was that, 2013?
Yeah, it was Svensson's day. Svensson versus Martin Fourcade on that occasion. On many occasions, to be honest, some brilliant racing. And of course, the whole championships that year, Mike, set up by the fact that the Czechs got a medal in the opening day.
That sparked off the spectators. And in fact, remember, the spectators had to be kind of, when we first came here, oh, please cheer for everybody. It was a partisan crowd, but they got into the spirit of things.
Yeah, this is, of course, the second, I was going to say, the second year in a row, the 3rd World Cup week that Nove Mesto have hosted World Cups without a single spectator being allowed into the stands. And that damages, well, the spirits and finances, definitely. All credit to them for agreeing to host 2 rounds of the World Cup this year. Take away that miss. Yeah, good, really solid performance. What do you think in terms of future, Mike? He's obviously got a couple of brothers to follow, and of course with Filmayer and Jacquelin, the French team, he's got all the stars that he could possibly want in the team to learn off.
Yes, I think he has everything. He's got the ability. We saw him first World Cup shooting 0-0, lost his way on the last lap, but was in, I think, 17th position as he left the range, looking at the times later when everybody had left the range, so 13th, but he dropped back to 32nd. So just a little more endurance, and I think he'll be challenging for a top 10 next year.
Svenjos missed 2 last week in the sprint, finished outside the top 100.
You felt he almost gave up on the last shot. I don't know what it was, his spirit. He didn't want to stabilize the rifle any longer or rebreathe, and it's cost him dearly.
Again, the gap between the top 60 is smaller than normal. 34 seconds separating the top 10 at the moment. It was 37 last week. It does seem to be determined by the course and the conditions more than anything else. The consistency of the 2:30 broken over the last 3 weeks. I think we may be looking at sub 2 minutes between 1 and 60. And that is relevant, of course, because all those in the top 60 get to race again on Saturday in the pursuit. Christiansen down in 22, ahead of Benny Vega. I thought Vega was going to have a fantastic season, Mike, after the start we saw in Kontiolahti.
He looked great. His shooting was there. And, well, he has 1 podium, and that was Oberhof mass start. But then he lost his form, sadly for him, as they made, I think he was unwell prior to the World Championships, lost his form, and hasn't come back to the top end again.
Good shooting from Hoffer this week, and last week was okay, not his best. 1-1 in the sprint. He's gone 0-0 today. And Hoffer at 31, getting another podium. That would be very, very welcome. He's had quite a few 4th place finishes this year. The Antolz individual, he'd love to have made the top 3 there, Mike. He definitely would have swapped a 3rd here for a 3rd there. And 4th in Oberhof in the sprint as well.
And today, delighted with his third position. It's likely to stay, isn't it?
Yeah, and
only 14 seconds behind.
Yeah, first time he's shot clear in the sprint this season, and just shows you what he can do.
Rebar, he's not having a happy time, although Hernig is only 21-year-old and missing only one target for your first World Cup race. I think that's impressive.
Benny Vega, the best of the Swiss at the moment, 112 behind.
We've seen Hartwig playing a huge part in the Swiss team's relays, but thankfully they've lightly raced him in other World Cup races. So Zingerle watched Giacomo missing his first shot, but getting all the second, third, fourth, fifth target. I think he'll be expecting and hoping for a 0 here. The time is pretty good coming into the range with that penalty loop. Was that really 9.6 seconds to the first shot? Incredible. 1-1.
19.6 total time. Jacquelin still with the fastest standing shot, 18.4. That was remarkable. And he hit 5, by the way. Jacquemin's just gone into second place, 19.6. So only 2 men sub 20. Poncelomo 20.4, Giegner 20.6. Giegner, I think, knowing Mike, if it had been 21, 22.6, he would have hit 5, and that could well have seen him into the top 3 today. Jaeger into the finish for Switzerland. We've still got Vega sitting in 26th position, and Jaeger can't improve on that. 1:52, squeezing into the top 50. .216 now, the margin between 1 and 60. Going back to the first shoot, Mike, Giegner, the only late starter to have hit the top 10 in the first shoot. So, what conclusion do you draw on the ski speed?
Yes, I do think it's not much has changed, except that you're now digging into tracks which have been well chopped up. So, and I have noticed a lot of the later starters going the long way around on the bends, not taking the race line because it's so chopped up. So definitely a disadvantage for me going later. You can see it there, look at the deep ruts there, and that's just like running in sand. You press deep into the snow, it absorbs a little more of your energy. Margins aren't massive, maybe 7 to 10 seconds a lap, but it adds up. Good to see the Lithuanian athletes, a 90% hit rate there from Banyis. This is a good result, and a top 60, I think. I saw a start in the pursuit competition. Now, of course, he's on the loop, so that may not be the case. But you can see just dropping outside the top 60, so the chase is on. If he wants to start, the coaches will be giving him all the advice on the way round.
Emilien Jacquelin, or Claude, I should say, Emilien Claude getting all the support that the French can muster, and still looking for what, top 40 for points. I don't think he's going to take any today.
He's not looking as sharp, Patrick, as when we watched him at the Junior World Championships. There's definitely fatigue there, or is it this course profile? It might have been a little easier in Obertiliach.
Yeah, I think when you're leading, you feel different, particularly on that last loop. And in most races, he was certainly involved in a chase for the gold medals.
And the pursuit, he said he had no feeling. His arms, the brain was trying to get everything to move, but he had no feeling in the muscles in his legs or his arms. With what, 800 meters to go, he was being chased by 3 athletes.
So no change now to the top 10. Fielmayer gets a win, a rare win in a sprint. He's gone 8 podiums in the sprint without a win. That's a record before he finally gets one today. 22.07 the winning time. Tarjei BOE, not a solid performance. A first and a second in the last 2 races. He's cementing his position in the top 3 for the season. Fielmayer, his main rival, actually. So Fielmayer actually closes by a couple of points. In terms of the overall Johannes Tingesbø saved by the fact that Lygrid missed a target, and that pushed Lygrid out of contention for a top 3, having been right up there with the first shoot completed. Lygrid at the moment in 5th, Johannes Tingesbø down in 9, so the gap closes a little bit more. The season rolls on. We have 4 more races to go this year.